Okay, now that I've got that TerraFlex reinforced tailgate hinge installed, it's time to start installing some of the things that I've purchased that are going to go on the tailgate. So Jeep Wranglers are notorious for not having storage space, or at least lockable storage space. My last JK, I purchased a lock box for under the driver's seat. It allowed me to throw wallets in or whatever you needed to throw in there, a gun or anything you wanted to lock up when the top's off. So the Jeep 392 doesn't have space under the seats to even have that as an option. So I looked for something that would give me that option, and I came across this Tuffy tailgate locker, whatever you want to call it. It also serves as kind of one of those, the tailgate cutting board, not really a cutting board, but a tailgate shelf that you can put stuff on. I thought, it's kind of the best of the both worlds. I've got a lock-in box, and I can have a table to work on if I need to. I'm concerned a little bit about the depth of it. It's deeper than I think I wanted or needed to go. I think it's going to eat into the cargo area a little deeper than I want to, but I'm going to try and mount it pretty flush to the tailgate to compensate for some of that. Okay, so the first part of the instruction says to remove this plastic tailgate cover. Just like that. You've got these little green tabs. You can see some of them didn't pop out. So I'm going to grab those, pull those off, continue on. So what the manufacturer wants you to do now, once you remove this, is drill holes here, here, about right here, and about right in this area here. So it'll mount into these spots here, here, I guess down here and right here. The problem with that in my mind is you've got about an inch thickness of this tailgate cover, and then in addition to that, those spacers that fit through the holes you're supposed to drill push it out a little bit farther, and you're looking at maybe 2.5 inches off the tailgate that you're taking space up out of your cargo area. So number one, I didn't want to really drill holes through this, because if I decide I don't like it, want to remove it, and want to put this back onto factory, I don't want a bunch of holes in the plastic. So my other thing is I'm hoping to save those 2.5 inches in the cargo area by mounting that right up against the points here. So I can save that space and suck it right up to the tailgate. So I'm going to try that and see if that'll work. So there's the spacers that I'm talking about. So the longer spacer, I think, goes down here on the bottom, and the shorter spacer goes here on top through the plastic, and then you mount your bolts through there, and that's what holds it on, away from the plastic a little bit. I want to try and eliminate these, and like I said, put it right up against the mounting points on the tailgate. So I'm going to mock that up and see if how it works. Okay, so I just mocked that in place, just holding it up there with a strap through the back tire. I just wanted to see how it would mount right up against the tailgate, and it looks like it fits all the way around. Looks like it would work, and like I said, it makes it so I don't have to drill holes in the plastic, and I end up saving a couple of inches. Everything seems to be solid. So having thought about this before installing it, I knew there would be a lot of metal on metal locations, so I'm going to use some gasket material and put this rubber material between or around the tailgate, or around the box, I should say, wherever it may be metal on metal, because I don't want any squeaking and the rubbing on the paint and everything else. But the initial fit looks like it should fit. It looks like it may work. My only concern is when I go to close this, it's going to come right to this area here. It should clear the carpeted area, but I've got this aftermarket mat and it's probably going to hit this lip. So I may either need to trim this up or trim it back. I got to see how much clearance I have when that tailgate closes with that on there. I was worried that these would be too long because they are pretty long, and without that, using that spacer in there, I didn't know if it would be deep enough to bury that whole bolt in there. But my fears were not realized. It was able to go all the way flush and up against and tight up against the Jeep. So I haven't tried the bottom ones yet, but I hope I get the same success. Otherwise, I may have to cut these down a little bit, but they seem to work so far. All right, so what I think I'm gonna do is just run this stuff along the edges here and probably where the mounting holes are. And anywhere else I think that it might make contact with the Jeep, the tailgate of the Jeep. Okay, so I've got the gasket material kind of around the points that I think would be where it will touch the tailgate here. One of those, I put a little bit on the center point. I don't really have a mounting hole for it. So if it touches on this center point, they stick out the farthest. It at least will be up against this piece of rubber here. And then I've got a couple of rubber washers that I'm going to use to mount on those bolts on the top at least. Let's get it back into place here. See if I can get these gaskets behind here so I can get this between the part here. On that one, the bolt, a lock washer, and then the washer up against those, up against the inside of this. So, okay, so I'm gonna put a little blue Loctite on there. Okay, I have those in place, tightened in loosely so I can line up the other holes. All right. So those are in place. I gotta get those other holes opened up. The gasket materials blocking these two holes here. So to do that, I'm just gonna use a little drill. All right, I think I can see the holes through there. Let's get those other bolts attached and see how it goes. I think it definitely helps having these top bolts a little bit loose up here. you can get your fingers behind here and kind of line up those holes. Let's see if we're in. Well, that's a pain. It's gonna be a long way to screw those in if I can't rotate that around, so let's look for another option. What do they say? Work smarter, not harder. So it lets me get in there now. Let's see if that feels like it's on there. All right, well, these aren't even holding, so. Thing seems to be solid. Yeah, so a couple of things that I liked about this is not only does it give me lock-in storage, but it gives me a little bit of a tray or a shelf here. And according to the instructions, this should hold about 40 pounds. So you've got a little workspace or somewhere to put my jet boil or anything else that I may want to use that for. You can see how tight that is now up against the tailgate compared to what the instructions want, and having it set off that plastic. The only bad thing, or the thing I'm not thrilled about, is this whole area is not covered. It's exposed. Normally the cover would follow this indent right here, kind of cover up this stuff, and then down here as well. That's exposed, not a big deal. Okay, so you see these holes here, right there, the 3 on that side, and you got 3 on this side if you look, 1, 2, 3. Those are for these shelves that go in there, and I'll open those up and put those in now. These are the 2 shelves that go here. The squared one goes on the, I guess, passenger side, or the inside of the tailgate. And the one with the angle here goes on the driver's side, or the outside of the tailgate. Go together with just the 6 screws. There's 3 on each. You can see these are the spacers I would have used to space it off of that back, but that's how much far off of the back I would have been, the tail end of the tailgate. So, you know, that would have stuck out that much further using these spacers. So I'm glad it worked out without the spacers, because it really would have pushed into the cargo area a lot more. And I'm going to give it a close here in a minute and see what I need to do. But it comes with 2 sets of keys, the shells. I'm going to put those on here and see how it goes. All right. See how that works. Okay, so here's the moment of truth. I'm wondering if it'll clear. It's more than likely going to clear the carpet. I'm just concerned it might not clear this cargo mat, the plastic cargo mat I have back here. It's got this little lip on it here, and you can see it's pretty tight. So I'm going to give it a shot, see what happens here. I can hear it kind of rubbing. Looks like it clears it though. Yeah, I'm able to close it. So even with the cargo mat, it definitely rubs a little bit along the bottom, but the mat doesn't look any worse for wear. So I don't think I will do any modifications to that. I'll just deal with the little bit of contact that it makes. So there you go. You can see how much room it takes up in the cargo area. Well, I pretty much didn't follow the instructions other than mount it where it says to be mounted, but I think putting it up against the tailgate is the right way to go with this, if you're okay with leaving that plastic off. It's a fair amount of storage, lockable storage, which is nice, especially when the top's off. It allows you to take along those trail essentials, whatever you feel that you need when you're out on the trail or when you're running to the mall. On to the next project. I got a stack of them. Thanks for watching.